the heroes of this fight against COVID-19, our health workers. We have so many artists lined up. Ochame Kwame,
Amanzeba, Sina Soul, it is Tego Sisters. It's going to be Nilante. There's so many people coming, and there are poets as well.
And Joe Metal.
Yes.
Joe Metal will be here as well.
Yes, and then we also have as I say, we'll have Chief Movement, Apioko, will also be on the bill. So, yes, we have Sina Soul there. We have Nilante, you can see on the screen. We have Familia. Yes, we have Familia as well. Tego Sisters, as you can see, the Tego Sisters. We have Ochame Kwame, the rap doctor. So it's going to be an amazing day from 9 a.m. all the way through till 3 p.m. It's going to be a blast. You can't afford to miss it. Yes, and we also have a Kwaba on the bill. Amanzeba. And Manzeba is there. Of course, Joe Meta is also there. There's so many people. And it's going to be a fantastic day,
And the whole point of Rally Around the Flag virtual concert, of course, is to celebrate our hard-working health workers who put their lives on the line every single day to ensure that we are safe and our families are safe and we can that they have to deal with. Some of them have their children, they have to isolate expose them to the potential threat of getting COVID-19. Every day they go to work, they do their best, they have a bright smile, and it's just of a lot of health workers in other parts of the world quitting their jobs because they did not want to expose their families to COVID-19, and we've not had those kind of stories in Ghana. Matter of fact, a lot of the people who have gone on to heal from COVID-19, from being positive to now being negative, have said that the best part of the journey had to be their interactions with our health workers, who not only ensured that they were taken care of as far as their health is concerned, but psychologically that they did not, fall into any form of depression. They did not feel as though they were any less of a human being. The entire experience being with our health workers had to be their highlight, and it is what has kept their spirits up and enabled them to go through COVID-19 and come out negative. So as we are celebrating our health workers tomorrow, even today, if there's any health worker that you would want us to celebrate in a big way, just send a message in, celebrate them, let us know how they've touched your lives, and we will share that story with the rest of the world, right? So through our Breakfast Daily, you can use the hashtag Breakfast Daily or the WhatsApp line 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. And after Breakfast Daily, you can just use the hashtag Rally Round the Flag, so that we just dedicate this entire first day of May to our health workers.
Yeah. Well, as we very well know, our recovery rate is at 188. We're looking forward to more positive numbers coming through. We're in a good place. The fact that we're actually we're having a recovery rate that is as high as that. Looking at the case count, I think it's a very important thing to remember. And I always look at the critical cases, the severe to critical cases, vis-a-vis the death rate. Looking at that out of the total case count, and that for us is a very important figure to know. Okay, so it's very important for us to note that the death rate is actually less than 1%, and it's important for us to bear that in mind. That's the positive. So when you look at the confirmed cases, it can easily throw you off, and you feel like, oh, the numbers are just too many. But when you look at the number of deaths, then you realize that this is actually everybody's been saying it, that the fear of the spread, the rate of spread, is what is causing people to be afraid more than anything else. But we're going to pull through this, and what we are doing, we've done well over 100,000 tests right now, and it means that we are actually pretty much on top of where we should be, so it's a good thing. Yes, and so we are looking at
it there
on
your
screen.
screens.
Yeah.
The total confirmed cases now is 1,671.
Yeah, and then the active cases are 100,467. We also have 188 recoveries, and like I said earlier on, 16 deaths. So you can see the spread across the country. Over there, Accra, of course, being the hottest zone with the most number of cases, but again, we see the spread. We see the spread across the country. We still do have 4 regions that have not yet been touched by this, and I think it's important for us to understand that the measures put in place are critical. And wearing of masks to put a barrier between yourself and any other person. If we all wear our masks, then we limit what the virus can do in terms of its spread around. So it's very, very important. I'm very happy to see that a lot of places now you can't get in without your mask on. But I'm more concerned now about people walking in town without their masks. And I think it's a very important thing for the authorities who are handling this to deal with that, to make sure that the wearing of masks is something that everybody does, regardless of where you are. Now, what I'm finding is that some people in town, I've noticed that people in town are doing this, like trotro drivers, trotro mates. They are driving around, then they'll pull the mask down and put it beneath their chin, and then it's like, if you're coming towards maybe a police stop or something, then you pull the mask back up. That's not what it's for.
Yeah.
It's supposed to protect you. It kind of reminds me of the attitude that we have towards seat belts, right? So they'll lock in the seat belt, then they'll throw it behind them, because for them it's like it's an inconvenience, And when they see the police, then they'll put the seat belt back on. That's not what it's for. It's to protect our lives, So I think it's important for us. And then please, those of you who are using the cloth masks, you're supposed to wash them regularly. Do not be using a mask for 1 week, 2 weeks. The masks are dirty and filthy. You're putting your life at risk. If you happen to come into contact with a positive person, that mask is the very thing that is going to get you. All right? So it's important to remember, it's not. Let's stop thinking about the inconvenience. Let's think about the safety of us. And if you don't care about yourself, care about your neighbor.
Yeah, I completely agree, right? So even though we said April was the face mask month, we're extending it until we're done with COVID-19. So wherever you're going, if you're stepping out of your homes, put on the mask. And we're not putting on the mask because someone is requiring us to do so. We're putting them on because we want to ensure that we don't get COVID-19, because we know that in Ghana, majority of the people who have come out positive showed little to no symptoms at all, which means the people closest to you could potentially be positive, but they are not showing any symptoms. And the last thing we want is to pass it on to someone who's critically ill, because in as much as we are happy with the numbers of recoveries, the number of people who are also dying is alarming, right? Because we know that the people who are critically ill, we are not getting much information on how many of them actually heal. So we don't want to pass this dangerous disease on to someone who already has a pre-existing health condition. That is why it's important for all of us to walk under the presumption that we could be positive. And if you have that in mind, you will always put on your face mask whenever you're stepping out of your homes. Now, tomorrow is Rally Round the Flag. We're celebrating our health workers. Yesterday, a lot of you sent in your messages, so I'll read some of the messages. And as we're sharing the messages, if you also have a story that you want to share, celebrating a health worker who changed your life, transformed your life, just let us know the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana and you still want to contribute, just use the country code +233. So I'm reading these messages from our Facebook page, City TV. It says here, hello, big thanks to Dr. Rashid from Gushegu District Hospital. I wish to thank, and this is from Suleiman Yassiu Arafat. Ebenezer Atobaden says, I wish to say thank you to Dr. Afa of the pediatric unit at Kolebu Teaching Hospital for her work. She actually gave my wife and I a good treatment when I sent my ward on referral from the Ridge Hospital. At the Ridge Hospital too, many thanks to a young doctor, Amanda, also at the pediatrics ward. I need more time to explain on what they did, but on the whole, I say thank them for their professionalism. Another message here celebrating our doctors. This is from Kelvin. He says, I want to appreciate Dr. Richard Yao Lotsu and all staff of Sena Clinic in Wa, Dr. Nana Efriye Ashibe Bonsu of Trust Hospital, Dr. Alan Seidu of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Roland Lotsu of St. Joseph's Skin Center in New Zealand. Much love to all nurses too. God bless them all. Do you have some messages there?
Yes. I have some messages coming in here. My name is Teacher Owusu from Agona Odobing. I'm watching live. Well, welcome to you from Agona Odobing. All right. He says, keep the fire burning. Fantastic. Thank you for that message. Good morning, Madam. It's you that they're calling Madam. May the Almighty God continue to protect all frontline workers. Okay, this one says, thumbs up to Dr. Patrick Asari of Ridge Hospital. God bless you for your hard work for Mother Ghana. Hashtag Rally Round the Flag. This is Arnold from Tema Newtown. So keep those messages coming through. We have one from Rebecca. Rebecca from Hilltop. She says, I joined Metro bus, but there's no social distancing. Okay, that's a very hope that the authorities are listening. If you can, kindly let us know what's the bus number, so that we can point out those who are not doing the right thing, because I'm not sure it's not all metro buses that do that. Yesterday I also got a message from a friend talking about VIP bus. He was on his way to the north, and he had boarded a VIP bus, and he sent me pictures. There's no social distancing on the bus. Everybody's just sitting as regular, so I think it's important for us to get the authorities, notified about all these spaces where people are just flouting the instructions, because we're in a fight together. If we don't do this thing together in a concerted effort, it will drag out longer than it should.
And I know that historically we're people who are slightly passive. We don't want to cause any problems. So you walk into a car and people are just sitting next to each other, and you're like, well, if this is the norm, let me also comply. But your life is at stake, right? And the lives of the people on the bus are also at stake. So whenever you see people doing something that is contradictory to where we're going as far as our fight against COVID-19 is concerned, use that as an opportunity to politely educate them, because there could be a genuine concern, right? People may not know what's going on. There are still people in this country who believe that COVID-19 is a rich man's disease. So if you're not amongst the wealthy, you are not going to get it. So that's an opportunity for you to tell the driver, do you know that this disease, this is how it works, and you may catch it by exposing yourself in this way? Or passengers, are you aware of this? If all these passengers decide to get off that bus and get onto a bus that's actually respecting social distancing, then we will begin to, comply by these things, and more people will know that if I don't do this, my customers will not pay for the services I'm offering, and we will all get ahead. So I think we all need to be empowered to actively participate in being ambassadors of social distancing across the country.
Right. So we have a report on face mask wearing, and let's take a look at that. What you do?
Madam So behind me there is an AMA official asking everybody who is in the trotro without a nose mask to alight, including the driver. And that's the situation here at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, right under the bridge. Anybody who is commuting into town without a nose mask is meant to return or acquire one on the spot. We'll talk to some passengers, possibly some of the nose mask sellers and the officials, and bring you up to speed with the issue here. So tell me, what do you make of the operation today?
Oh, very interesting, very good, because without these preventions, some people are going to get more infected. It's simple as that.
Now, why weren't you wearing yours?
No, I have one. It's here when I was coming on the way.
And now you've been forced to buy one, not to?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I went to the fitting shop and my phone was giving me problem, and I just passed by to repair it, so I just forgot it at home. Okay, it's good idea. It's good idea, but unfortunately, I apologize. So next time, I'll not do that mistake. Oh, I can buy it, but I don't have money on me now. I need it. It will protect me yet, but I don't have money on me now.
We're here with one of the sellers of the nose mask. We're going to ask her how business has been so far. Madam Pacho, yes, that's the operation. Is your business the same?
You see, my friends say business here. Me talk cosmetics, but marketing and quantity. When you buy, no, obi chamuna say or shebia. Ni advice no atobi. Inti ya ne boaso nya di 22 cedi.
See what Tom is saying.
Oh, media me.
So we have Ibrahim Tete here. He's the one in charge of this operation by the AMA. So Ibrahim, tell me, how's the operation going so far?
Yeah, very nice. And as you also here witness what is going on, I think it's good for all of us. The exercise we are doing now, from the mayor and the regional minister, the mayor asked me to make sure each and everyone in circle here will be with the masks. If not that, we should check all the vehicles, especially the trotro. Those who doesn't have it, we have to drop them down for them to go and have it before joining them, or we have to let them go back.
So tell me, how long is this operation going to last?
We are here until the president will say, now it is okay, so everyone should remove the mask, then we'll stop coming here. But so far the president said, and the regional minister and the mayor will make sure that every blessed day we'll be here and check each and everyone in circle. And even not only the vehicles, those who are selling the only the vehicles.
So you heard it there from Mr. Tete. If you don't want to experience the inconvenience of being asked to alight from the car you are in and buy a nose mask on the spot, please come to town wearing your nose mask. Reporting for City News, my name is Michael Obodu.
So there you have it, the AMA ensuring that people have on their face mask. And of course, that report is by our colleague and producer, Michael Obodu. I think it's great what they are doing, but I also think that we should ensure that people have on quality face masks, you know. So the FDA has already come out with certain standards that you're supposed to meet, and there's a simple flame exercise you can do where you have the face mask on and you try and blow out the fire, and if it blows out, then it means that that face mask is not really preventing anything from coming onto your face. So I think it's important for us to begin to regulate the kinds of face masks that we also have available, and we also don't want to use this face mask as a way to discriminate against people who genuinely can't afford it, right? So it's bad enough that supermarkets are not allowing people enter if you don't have face mask on. Banks are not allowing people enter if you don't have face mask on. Are there NGOs within our country that can begin to provide face masks to people who will not be able to afford it? Because let's be honest, 2 cedis could be a lot of money for some people, right? Would you rather use that 2 cedis to buy kenke and a little bit of shito or something, or are you going to use that 2 cedis to buy face masks? So we need to look at the people who are most vulnerable amongst us to see how we can provide face masks for them, because we've been told that even when you buy the cloth face mask today, you're supposed to wash it before you put it on, right? So some of us can afford 5 face masks, wear one each day of the week, and then you wash them all during the weekend. But what about those of us who can't? Does that mean that they can't be mobile anymore because they don't have on face masks? So I applaud the state for doing this, but I also think that we should be looking at people who genuinely can't afford it and making it available for them.
Yeah, I think that what the effort that we're putting in so far is critical. I think that a lot of the times we look at dealing with problems in silos, but I think we need to look at the whole thing as in a total continuum where we know that what the end result is what we're targeting. I don't think that we should break it down and have things done in bits and pieces. Otherwise, it will just take a longer time for us to deal with all of this. Face mask wearing has to become a must, and something that you can't appear in public without a face mask. I think it's a very, very important thing for us to do. Implement it as a bylaw of all the MMDAs and assemblies. We need to do that. I think it's very, very important. And then the social distancing is critical. Okay, so people have challenges on buses, people have challenges in churches. We have to figure out what it is that we're going to do, because of course transport owners and drivers don't want to be losing too much money because they're not carrying enough people on, let's say, for example, long distance journeys, for example. They don't want to be losing too much money. So what are we going to do? How are we going to balance this thing out, and make it work for everyone? I think it's important for us to think of the entire space, as in a 360 kind of way, so that we don't leave gaps, and then at the end of the day have a longer drawn out battle against COVID-19. I think it's very important for us to deal with that. Yeah.
Definitely. And something really interesting happened yesterday. So, since this whole COVID-19 thing, what we are doing at City TV is to ensure that our students are still staying educated, their minds are being engaged. So Class Act, we bring you science, we bring you English, we bring you mathematics. You can study at home with your family members and your friends. And we've been doing this for a couple of months now, actually. And yesterday on Point of View, the Deputy Education Minister, Honorable Duchum, says that he's going to come teach Class Act one of these days. So let's hear what he said yesterday and then continue the show.
I think one of the things that has not come up in this discussion is the work that the Ghana Education Service is doing, and also your organization is doing in terms of distance learning through TV.
Yes.
It's not what you may describe as online.
Yes.
By distance learning through TV, and Class Act is one of the my favorite ones I've been watching.
Oh, you're watching Class Act?
And that's why I want to come on and teach.
You want to come and teach?
Oh yeah, I want to come and teach some lessons.
Which subject?
Mathematics.
Mathematics.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Exponential equations and those things.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I want to come and teach a class on your network because you are doing a fantastic job. It's something that you started so that you can support and complement government's efforts. So the TV is reaching quite a large number of people.
Yes.
But I also understand some people may not have access to it, and therefore when it's complemented by what some teachers are doing with WhatsApp and other tools and also the old technology. That is, you pick up your books, you look at your notes and say, God help me, I don't have a TV here, but I'm going to do my best. So when it's time for BEC, I can also compete. So I believe that there are some good things
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that.
Minister, yes.
We're looking forwed to that.
Honorable Adichum
Yes,
is going to teach
on
math.
Class Act. Yes, you know, he was talking about exponential equations. I'm just thinking, actually, my maths is rusty.
I know.
Yeah, we can't wait for you. So we're going to take you up on that. We're waiting for, and Class Act comes on every day at 5:30. Remember that the omnibus version is from 4 to that time. So 4 and 5 o'clock we have it, and then
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to him coming to do that.
Me too,
Yeah.
right? And it's an opportunity for you at home, right? Your kids are at home. Don't waste this time letting them play video games. Don't let them waste away watching series all day long. And you as a parent as well. I'm sure there's some algebraic expressions that you've forgotten, and you can practice with them. You know, it's a great way to say, okay, we have this thing. Let's see who gets it right. You can find ways to make it fun, because we are always complaining that our education is very poor, there's no critical thinking, there's no fun to it. So this is a way for you to experiment how to, you know, get your students, I mean your kids, who are now your students because they are home with you and you're studying, to embrace the lessons that they will learn with Class Act. So again, we have English, we have science, we have mathematics, and you know, it's fun. So tune in 5:30. The omnibus is from 4 to 5, and then we have 30 minutes. Right after 30 minutes, we go to the new episodes of Class Act. Okay.
Absolutely. Well, every day we have a quote for you, so let's take a look at our quote for today. And the quote for today comes from Greg Pitt, who was an Army Ranger, an actor, and a fitness model. It says, "Your comfort zone is your danger zone." Your comfort zone is your danger zone. That's, you know, when you think of it, you think of comfort and you can't imagine danger. But basically, if you don't get out of your comfort zone, you're in trouble. You know, your comfort zone is your danger zone. The only place where there's success and safety is when you get out of your comfort zone. So let's remind ourselves of that today. Let's get ourselves out of our comfort zone and get into making good success for ourselves and having a good future, safety.
I completely agree. And sometimes it doesn't feel so dangerous because, I mean, you're so comfortable there.
Yeah.
Right? But then there's no growth. That's what makes it so dangerous, because the last thing you want is to see your friends 5-10 years from now, they've gone on to do amazing things because they dared to take risks and you just stayed still. So as they are talking about all the adventures, you have nothing to contribute because you've not moved up. You've still stayed there, right? So take a bet on yourself, and 90% of the time you actually end up achieving it, because it starts with your mind before it manifests itself in real life.
Yeah. Well, later today we have a press conference from the Ministry of Information, so you don't want to miss that. That's going to be at 9 o'clock. But before that, will be news review, and we're going to take a short break before we get into that. My name is David Kwekusechi.
And I am Jifa Ekia Ametab. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello to the youth out there. My name is Mahamudu Baumia, Vice President of the Republic. I would like to talk to you about the coronavirus pandemic that we are dealing with at the moment. It is a virus that has infected over 1.7 million people worldwide, and over 107,000 people have died from it. It is a virus that is transmitted either through touching somebody, shaking their hands, that they can transmit the virus if they are positive, or through sneezing, coughing, that can bring out droplets, which can touch you. So this is how it is generally transmitted. And because of that, we have the science telling us that we should try and maintain distances between people, 1 meter to 2 meters of distances, so that the droplets will not be able to travel very far. It is therefore very important that we follow the instructions that have been given to all of us. Minimize or don't shake anybody's hands.
Data, extra minutes, and extra unlimited calls. Not just that, even our extra data doesn't expire. Simply dial *111# to bundle now. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Welcome back. It's Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll take a look at our newspaper headlines, then some online stories, and then we'll introduce our guest who are already seated here with us. Let's start off with the Daily Graphic. On the front page of the Daily Graphic, we have Unipass keeps importers stranded. That story is on page 16. Ahead of May Day, ICU urges workers to help fight COVID-19. That story is on page 20. Don't aid people to cross borders illegally. That's coming from the Ghana Immigration Service, and that story is on page 16. Finally, our duty, national call, health workers determined to win COVID-19 war. That story is on page 3, and of course we'll be celebrating our health workers tomorrow on City TV and City FM from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So do join us and send those messages in as well. We'll take a look at the Ghanaian Times now. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, we have ban Okada now over social distancing defiance. That's coming from the public, and that story is on page 12. COVID-19 offenses. Police grab 1,326 persons nationwide for flouting public gathering social distancing directives. That story is on page 3. And I like this image here on the right side. It says, wearing a mask. Don't eat with the mask on. A lot of us do that. We just move the mask to our necks and then we start eating. Don't touch phone to mask, because if the virus is on the mask and you bring your phone to the mask, there's a way that you can actually transfer that virus onto your phone. And don't touch front of the mask. If you want to remove the mask off, just go onto the sides where they are on your ears and just take them off. We'll now go to the new crusading guide. NDC split heads over Akufo-Addo's 88 hospitals project. Story on pages 3 and 10. Land Commission in hot waters over multiple registration of lands as police pursue it for answers. We'll now go on to the Daily Statesman. We don't have running mates due to COVID-19. That's coming from the General Secretary of the NDC, and that story is on page 2. No decision yet on lifting ban on public gatherings. That's coming from the President, and that story is also on page 2 of the Daily Statesman. We'll now take a look at the Chronicle. Amidu sits on tenterhooks as Supreme Court defers age judgment again. Okay, that story is on pages 2 and 3. NPP primaries gets murkier. Okay, NPP primary gets murkier. We'll now go on to the ABC News. Mahama suffers COVID-19 setback, can't select running mate, says Esiedun Ketia, and that story is on page 3. There's an editorial here that says COVID-19 deadly, stay home. It's on page 5. When I take a look at the Daily Post, Akufo-Addo shows doctors' lives don't matter to him. What matters is the December general elections. Story on pages 6 and 7 of the Daily Post. We'll now take a look at our last newspaper and then take a look at some online stories. I'm talking about The Custodian. On the front page of The Custodian, we have robust economy to fight COVID-19. That's coming from the Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah, and that story is on page 2. Hand washing best option against COVID-19, as UDS research shows 97% of sanitizers are fake. That story is on page 3 of The Custodian. We'll now take a look at some online stories, starting with citynewsroom.com. On citynewsroom.com, of course, we have Central Region residents protest against sitting of COVID-19 isolation center at Dupong Ofako. Deputy Education Minister commends City TV's Class Act offers to teach on show. Coronavirus, don't stampede government into opening schools now. It's coming from Carbonu. COVID-19, we can't open schools if it's not safe. That's coming from the Deputy Education Minister, Honorable Educhum. Tripartite committees communique on COVID-19 fight misplaced. That's coming from the Federation of Labor. We'll now take a look at some business news from citybusinessnews.com. COVID-19, TUC Employers Association call for stimulus support for big businesses. Tripartite committees communique on COVID-19 fight misplaced. Federation of Labor. I'll communicate. Offer better protection for financial consumers amid COVID-19. Group urges BOG. COVID-19 impact. National Hospitality Association calls on government for emergency support. Supreme Court dismisses application challenging the merger of Danex, Iton, and Iton, sorry. We'll take a look at some more local news from myjoyonline.com. COVID-19 crisis calls for a national discourse on health system. Former GHS boss. We'll now take a look at some international news from bbcnews.com. Coronavirus, PM to update UK on steps to defeat coronavirus. You get all of your local news from citynewsroom.com and all of your business news from citybusinessnews.com. And of course, for all updates on coronavirus, you can go to citynewsroom.com/coronavirus. Now, throughout the news review, we want to hear from you. So wherever you're watching us from, let us know your thoughts with the hashtag BreakfastDaily and the WhatsApp line 0550-585-832, and we'll do well to read them for you. I have been joined by Honorable Andrew Mesa, who's the MP for Sekindi. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
By His grace, I'm well.
Thank you so much for being with us.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
I've also been joined by Honorable Samuel Nate George, who's the MP for Ningo Pram. Good morning.
A very good morning to you.
How are you?
By God's grace.
How have you been? You were busy this weekend.
Yes, 7 Madagara.
How did it go?
Quite good. Tested the law, saw the beauty of our legal jurisprudence, and sadly also saw the impunity of a constitutional body and how the rule of law has been thrown to the dogs. But, I mean, the wheels of justice grind slow, but they will definitely get to their destination.
Okay. We're grateful that you could be here with us.
Thank you.
We'll take a look at our first story. I'm reading from citynewsroom.com.
You see, the interesting thing that I get to hear, that people are saying that the Akufo-Addo government doesn't care about the well-being of the Ghanaian people, but is interested only in the election.
Okay.
Correct? You've heard those comments. Indeed,
I think I read it in one of
the
headlines.
NDC affiliated newspapers.
Okay.
But you see, Sam George went to court over the weekend. What was his motive? He's not interested in the December election.
My motive was the saving of Ghanaian lives from a possible spread of coronavirus. When you bring directors and regional directors from 16 regions and congregate them in a place,
and
in
those,
violation of an
yes, those persons themselves, okay, are not complaining about their lives. You, a bystander, is interested in protecting their lives.
Because I'm a member of parliament.
Can you imagine that?
I'm a member of parliament who's been voted for to protect people.
In seeking to prevent the Electoral Commission from conducting or compiling a new register. That is your party's motive. That is the only reason why you went to court.
Stop touching the mask in your nose.
Please.
You're flouting the
and so
WHO.
let it not be said that one party is interested in the December election and another party is not.
Okay.
So
both parties are interested in the December election over COVID-19?
No.
Okay.
But COVID-19, Jifa will pass by the grace of God. We are doing all the social distancing protocols. We're wearing the mask.
Let me help you. Do this with the thing at the top here. Just press it here.
Very
like
well.
this. Press it. Perfect.
With the hope that when it passes, we will still be around.
Yes.
We're talking about this off air. But December 7th is the constitutionally required election that ought to be held. Except, and I cannot even begin to contemplate what situation would.
But we're not supposed to gather, aren't we?
I don't have a problem, but of course, if there are appropriate distancing protocols that can be put in place
then you can gather
to ensure that people go and exercise their constitutional right to select their leadership. Why? Hong Kong also just voted last week.
Then we can go to church.
Was it Hong Kong or Taiwan?
One
of the Asian countries. They conducted the election last week.
You've allowed him to introduce the topic. I need to have at least 1 minute to say something.
All you're doing
is
because of the interest that you have in the December election.
Okay.
It's a matter of fact. Let's not kid ourselves.
Okay. That's your last bite on that. I'll allow you to respond and then we move on.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's unfortunate that my brother will want to wax lyrical on a point where, as a lawmaker, he must actually be embracing the testing of the law. The EI 64 extended by EI 67 is clear. Public and social gatherings are proscribed by that executive instrument. The irresponsibility of the Electoral Commission that he endorses and paints a picture that without conduct of a new voters registration, we cannot have an election is a fallacy. It's not true. We have a voters register that elected him, elected me, elected President Akufo-Addo. We have a voters register that created 6 new regions. A voters register that was used for the conduct for the election of over 30,000 local level either assemblymen or unit committee members. How then do you tell me we're not ready for an election if we don't have a new register?
Have I made it this election yet?
That is the unholy haste of the NPP. Look, all we are interested in, and all I'm saying, and you see when he says that you can gather and have social distance protocols, it's not true. Read the EI. Like you pointed out, in that case, we should be allowed to go to church and have social distance protocols.
But who says the comments that I made was related to
one of the stories you read? In one of the stories you read, over 1,000 people have been arrested. Who says those people did not observe social distance protocols? They observed the social distance protocols. However, their gatherings were in violation of EI 67. For you as a lawmaker to sit here, after we have looked at Article 21(4) of the Constitution and passed Act 1012, which has given life to EI 64-67, and a constitutional body headed by a lawyer and a political science done from a university are flouting and breaching a law and by extension the Constitution, and you sit here and you clap for them. It's shameful.
Jifa, look, let me be clear. I'm not privy to what Electoral Commission was doing.
Yeah.
And if indeed they were in breach of the law, and we've had discussions that going to court to testing the law is something I endorse. But I'm saying that specifically with respect to your action that you took, it wasn't because you had some altruistic motive seeking to protect the persons who are attending the conference. No. Your motives are purely political. That's the point that I'm making. We can debate whether or not indeed if Electoral Commission was conducting some activity that was in breach of the law. I will never countenance any such activity. But your motive, you St. George,
okay,
and your party.
Let me give you
purely political.
Now, the Prime Minister is the Holy Spirit to know what my motive is. I leave it to the viewers to determine.
It's not obvious to everybody.
He's here, so he's mentioned his motive, and you don't agree, so that's perfectly fine. Thank you both for that. We'll take a look at our first story here. I'm reading from citynewsroom.com, and it says, an economy that can't keep lights on can't afford a ventilator. That's coming from the Information Minister Opon Nkrumah. It says Information Minister Kojo Opon Nkrumah has responded to former President John Dramani Mahama and other critics who are of the view that the Ghanaian economy is in tatters a month of COVID-19. Former President and flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, during a recent digital interaction said the much hyped economy by governing New Patriotic Party has failed the test of time as it is currently in shambles. I'm going to quote what he said. Unfortunately, this government has used a lot of propaganda saying the economy has been the best that we have ever had since independence. Unfortunately, just 1 month of coronavirus, the economy is in ICU. If we didn't run to the IMF for the 1 billion rapid credit facility, is it possible? It is possible that in the next month, probably salaries would not even have been paid. And so our economy is on ventilators and it needs thinking to rescue it from the ICU. It's coming from the former president, John Dramani Mahama. Now, the Information Minister responded to that on Tuesday, and he says, an economy that can't keep the lights on will not be able to afford a ventilator, let alone to keep it functioning to save lives. We have come far as a country. On a more serious note, building a strong economic base to fund all that we are doing. He went on to say that our current economic positioning is a major reason for which we are able to marshal and rescue to execute, marshal the resources to execute a good number of the interventions we are introducing today. So the Information Minister does not agree with the former president on that. But I will start with Sam George on this because the former president did say that, you know, the COVID is perhaps exposing some of the issues with our economic standing.
I mean, that's a fundamental truth when President Mahama says that our economy is on ventilators. Absolutely. We've had to raise well over 7 billion Ghana cedis in loans and dipping our hands into the stabilization fund, the legacy of President Mahama, to basically keep this economy afloat. You've seen the president lifting the lockdown basically because the economy had come to a standstill. As we speak right now, we really still do not even have the full picture of what the damage to the economy is. The government is still scouring around to see how well and where they can borrow from. All of this with just basically a month of coronavirus in the country. This is an economy that just about 6 months ago, Dr. Baumia, who is vice president and head of the economic management team, was waxing lyrical and bellicose when he sounded the notice that they had managed the economy so well that this economy could stand on its own and withstand any shock, and that we had import cover of over 3 months and all of that. In less than a month, we are on ventilators. We've had to run to the IMF, the same IMF that this same government, the leaders of this government, President Akufo-Addo, Dr. Baumia, said we should never again go to. They've run to the IMF for a rapid credit facility of $1 billion. When they criticized President Mahama for going to the IMF for policy credibility, how much was that? That was less than $1 billion. You have run for $1 billion from them. That is after taking over 200 million from John Mahama's stabilization fund that was set up. Okay? At the end of the day, the truth is staring you in the face. Like the way Dr. Baumia said, if you play politics with the currency or with the economy, the depreciation of the cedi will expose you. When you lie about the health of the economy, Corona will expose you, Macro will expose you. And you've been exposed. That this economy that you say is resilient and robust is not. It is a sham. You don't have a robust economy. The economy is currently on ventilators in the ICU. And we are only praying that this economy can come out. And that is why we need a master surgeon. A surgeon who has a proven track record.
And who is that?
Oh, John Dramani Mahama. Who else?
Okay.
Would you allow the GP who was handling the patient and has allowed the patient to deteriorate to the state where the patient is now on ventilators? When the patient was given to the GP, the patient was walking fine, had only mild symptoms, and now under the watch of that GP, the patient is on ventilators in the ICU.
But the information minister doesn't seem to agree. And
the information minister
heard from the agri minister that even plantains are so affordable. Things are not that bad.
I mean, the agri minister is living in a planet of his own.
Okay.
Okay. For him to say that bunch is 2 cedis and 5 cedis, and if you go, or body is 2 cedis and 5 cedis, you go to market. Me, I met you at the market before. So you know me too. I go to the market.
Okay.
You know. And let me land. I beg you. And there is nowhere in Ghana where you buy a bunch of plantains for 3 cedis.
Okay.
But that's the lies. Those are the lies that are being peddled on the same platform that the information minister is speaking. The same information minister who says nobody should speak unless you are a professional. Yet every day he's speaking about it. And let's remind the information minister, okay, that the issues he's referring to as aka Dumso was fixed by President Mahama in January of 2016. Even Dr. Baumia admitted it and said we shouldn't give credit to John Mahama. So and today, when he wants to talk, you see, when the gods want to kill you, they first make you mad. Today, don't we have Dumso in Ghana? Because they've not announced it as Dumso. How many people don't wake up every day and their lights go off for over 6 hours or 12 hours unannounced? Is it because people are not complaining about it? Is it a wisdom problem, like some pastor said sometime? Or is it a finance problem, like Dr. Baumia said sometime in his lecture? We're waiting for another lecture from Dr. Baumia. But if we will take a lecture on anything about the economy and this ventilator, it's not from Kojo Ponkuba.
But shouldn't we say that at least we've come a long way? Some of us are going to get, actually all of us, free water, 50% off electricity. Certain households are going to get the electricity bills paid for. We won't be able to afford all these social services if the economy were not in
It's not true that all of us are going to get free water.
Okay.
Less than 150,000 households will get free water.
Okay.
In a country that has over 30 million people. Okay? So it is not true that all of us are going to get free water. Let's state that clear. Okay? When you announce an intervention as though the majority of Ghanaians are going to get it, when less than 10% of Ghanaians will benefit from it, that is not for all of us. Okay? And I say this because many people who are watching CCTV today do not have Ghana water flowing in their homes.
But they just say they're going to collaborate with the other water suppliers to get the water to them.
When they bring to a whole village, and me, I'm a rural MP.
Yeah, so they'll come
a whole village. When you call the number, a whole village of over 4,000 people, then they bring you 13,500 gallon tankers. Why are the people going to fetch the water like pure water?
Well, at least
is everybody supposed to get a bucket?
So they will get access. It's just a matter of increasing the volume of water they will get, right?
Jifa, if since the announcement was made, it's been what, 2 weeks plus, and all you've gotten for a village is 2 tankers of 13,500, and you've called and they tell you there are 7 other people. So the people should continue using the 1 bucket of water for the 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's not a realistic policy. Yesterday, I went to buy ECG. I intentionally went to buy ECG. And when I got there to the vending point, I asked the woman, how do I get my 50% of my benchmark? She told me she doesn't know. And that I should just buy. And that they said the thing will kick in from May. When the announcement was made and people budget President Nana so and gave him funds, Ado Showboy, Ado D, he told us that the thing was taking immediate effect. Now they are telling us it is in May.
They said that March one will be in April, the April one will be in May.
And I'm telling you, in April, I went and bought ECG yesterday. And even yesterday, it is not working. There is nothing.
In May.
No, but the March one that you said should happen in April, where is it? Have you enjoyed 50%?
But the ECG clarified this for us, that all this will kick in from May.
It will kick in from May. Up till now, the vending machine, the vending distributors do not know how it will kick in. Well, do you know how it's going to kick in?
They're going to calibrate the machines, and
I'm a prepaid consumer.
I'm a prepaid consumer.
Yes. So what does it mean? If I used to buy 1,000 Ghana cedis every month, Does it mean that now when I go, I'm going to pay 500?
They are going to calibrate their machines, so perhaps by May, May is literally tomorrow.
So you're saying
patient
perhaps
enough to wait.
So it means you yourself, you don't know. You are saying perhaps.
That's the official reason they gave, that they're going to recalibrate their machines, and then after that we'll be fine.
So the question, so the question we are asking, communication.
Yes.
They owe us a duty of communication.
They brought out the communication.
No.
ECG came
Are you sure in your mind that, okay, now if you used to buy 1,000 CDs, when you're going to buy, you should buy only 500? Or are you supposed to still buy the 1,000, but it will last you longer? Are you sure how it's going to work? I'm asking you, do you know?
Well, the energy minister came out to explain all of that to us.
That what? So what is their explanation? Is it going to be that you buy half of what you used to buy, or you should buy the same thing and it will last you double? What exactly is it?
The benchmark will be your May consumption. So once you have your March consumption,
yes,
you'll use that as a benchmark to discount March to May.
You are repeating plenty of the English of the minister.
I want to clarify that for
even Bobo sitting here, I don't think he knows.
So, Honorable Mesa, please, your thoughts on what the former president said and what the information minister is saying as well.
They can kick themselves all they want, but the good people of this country will see end of April. They will see end of May, they will see end of June. And post that, they can then attest whether indeed the reliefs that His Excellency the President announced, they've enjoyed it or not.
Okay.
You see, I'm not a member of the NDC, thankfully. And so I don't have a difficulty with how they categorize the legacy of their 8 years. But I cringe, particularly because I'm a Fanti, when I hear deliberate attempts to dissipate the legacy of Prof. Mills and lump it all together and give it to Mr. Mahama.
Okay.
Look, forget about who made commercial discoveries of oil which necessitated the setting up of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, which then set up the Heritage Fund and the Stabilization Fund. In 2011, April, when that law was enacted, who was the president of this country? I want to know, please. April 2011, who was the president of Ghana? Jifa, please, if you don't provide me an answer, I won't continue. I want to know who the president of Ghana was at the time that the Petroleum Revenue Management Act was enacted.
Okay, what is this in connection?
No, I want to know, please, for the benefit of our viewers.
I think we
it was Professor John Evans Atta-Mills. So how then does St. George and his NDC acolytes attribute the legacy of Prof. Mills to Mr. Mahama? He sat here and said that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has utilized the Stabilization Fund, a legacy of Mr. Mahama. Is it factual?
Okay, continue.
I want to know, is it factual? You see, look, we all have lived in this country, and we know what it is that every government did. We are told that in the aftermath of the 2012 election, when the NDC spent recklessly, as if there was no tomorrow, including expenditure to the tune of $1 billion Ghana cedi to the RLG group, when no budget allocation had been made. Post that election, our finances were such that we had to resort to the IMF for some bailout to help us deal with the issues that our actions in 2012 had caused us.
Okay.
Now, so we went into an IMF program that transcended the NPP administration. Indeed, 18 months into the rollout of the IMF program, they missed every single benchmark that they had contracted with the IMF to achieve.
Okay, so I'll let you continue. But
please,
go for
please, it's important. Let me defend your break for a second for me.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, a new government comes in, goes through the IMF program and exits successfully. All our economic indicators were looking on the right track. Then a global crisis in the nature of this disease arrives, that has impacted the entire world. Correct?
Yes.
Now, they say what? So we've had issues with the revenue of our country. In 2012, 2013, 2014, before they went to the IMF, did we have revenue issues?
I will have you go. I'll go on a break and then I'll let you continue.
Please,
so you continue.
Very well.
This is still Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Again, we want to hear from you. So use the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550585832 for us to hear from you. We'll be right back.
Pay app. More social, more power, more services. Experience a cooler way of payments with exciting new features. Want to go social? Upload a cool image to add a personal feel to your account. Payments are even more seamless with an enhanced process. Mark some accounts as favorites so they are super easy to access. Even cooler, view payment due dates and check remaining balances for your favorite accounts. Want to repeat a payment? Do that right from the History tab. Have all your money in one place with a sleek look and feel. Bank Direct has had an awesome makeover. You can now send money instantly to 22 banks and counting. Express Pay. Payment simplified.
Welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. I still have with me Honorable Andrew Mensah, who's the MP for Sekondi, and Honorable Samuel Nate George, who's the MP of Ningo Pram Pram. Before the break, we were discussing the former president saying that coronavirus has exposed some of the issues we have with our economy, and the information minister saying that an economy that cannot even run on electricity won't be able to handle something like a COVID-19. And we were hearing from Honorable Mensah. He was making his closing remarks for us on this topic.
Closing remarks?
Please continue.
Now, I'm saying that COVID-19, the impact of COVID-19 on the economy of the entire globe is comparable to post-2012 general election.
Okay.
Is it? And he says what? Mr. Mahama is a master surgeon. Even at the time that arising out of their own reckless expenditure, which led to their inability to pay for energy bills, hence subjecting the people of Ghana into perpetual write-off for in excess of 4 years. All their revenues, except some decrease in oil revenue, okay? Because at a point during the era, and I would admit, they had some challenges with oil revenue. But their tax revenues were still coming.
But they fixed Doomso before they left power.
Whatever it is, I'm not interested in that kind of debate.
Okay.
Even at the time that the economy was in OPD, they couldn't fix it.
Okay.
Today, they claim that the economy has gone into ICU, and that the man who couldn't fix the economy in OPD should be the one that comes and fixes it in ICU. How does that work?
Okay.
Look, the track record of this government is clear. Indeed, 6 months ago, when the vice president was touting our economic achievements, nobody anticipated that we're going to have a pandemic that would have this significant impact not only on the economy of Ghana, but the entire world. Can the same be said of Mr. Mahama's era?
But people are asking questions. If the economy was so great, why did we need to go to the IMF? Couldn't we have handled it on our own with our own locally sourced revenue?
You see, we've gone to the IMF purely to bridge the revenue gap that we're not going to get from the 2008-20 budget.
Okay.
Because the budget that was approved by Parliament has an expenditure side and a revenue side. The revenues were going to come from oil and taxes. That's a recurrent expenditure. Okay. Now, if your recurrent expenditure that you need your revenue to fund, the revenue is not coming. Obviously, you need to find some buffer to meet those expenditures, and that's exactly what this government and several other governments across the world, including the great United States of America, is doing. Okay, so it is not the case that they have some superior competencies that we all witnessed when they were in office, and that this government has been told terrible. If we are not being saddled with COVID-19, okay, obviously, from the trajectory that we're going, there was absolutely no way that you can say that the MPP administration under His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo was going to revert to the IMF. Okay, but we are not in normal times, and so it's important that we put in place mechanisms that ensures that the people of Ghana are secure. In any event, you see,
please wrap up for us.
Yeah, no, I will. In any event, this rapid credit facility that we went for, okay, is going to go a long way to help us meet some expense targets. But I hear Mr. Mahama say that, but for this facility, we probably would not be able to pay salaries. Forgetting that just before Corona broke, this government, out of its vision to go to the market at an opportune time, went to secure the 3 billion euro bond, which had been approved by Parliament to meet some revenue shortfalls that we're going to have in our budget. And those funds had actually come in. So how then do you sit and say that the government was not going to be in a position to pay salaries? The fundamentals of our economy.
Thank you very much.
Without this act, which is of global proportions, clearly, some comparable to your track record.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's a matter of fact.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mesa.
Just a quick one. You see, the last point he makes is evidence of how abysmal the management of our economy is.
How so?
At no point in the 8 years of the NDC did you see the NDC have to go and raise a euro bond to be able to pay salaries or meet be able to pay salaries. He just said that President Mahama, let me land, you hear what he said. He said President Mahama was making reference to salary payments, but they had just gone before the coronavirus to raise 3 billion in a euro bond.
But that's
so that they could meet, so that they could. But he said so that they would have been able to pay salaries. His own argument.
Clarified himself. He's right here.
His own argument. Okay. He said they would have been able to pay salaries because they had gone for a 3 billion bond. An economy that needs to take euro bonds to be able to pay salaries.
To get euro bonds since Kofo's time, all governments.
We have all, yes, but I'm saying so the 8 years. No, Jifa, the 8. You see, when you take a bond, there's a loan that you need to pay for. When you take a loan, like a euro bond, and you use it for consumption, you struggle to pay. When you use it for infrastructure like President Mahama did, President Mahama takes a loan and builds you Kwame Nkrumah Circle.
And the euro bond is not for any, it's purely for salaries.
He has just told you, not me. And what he said is a fact.
But what about the point he made that this current government is dealing with a pandemic that the NDC didn't have
this
to deal
same
with.
Government, this same government, the head of the economic management team, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, this same government touted to us how robust the economy was.
Yes,
it's just how the builders of the Titanic boasted before the Titanic sank. They boasted how robust this economy was. A robust economy does not go for a rapid credit facility in one month.
Projections thinking a pandemic will hit them.
No,
don't you agree?
Well, I agree. Nobody makes a projection. But if your economy is robust, it shouldn't be on its knees in 4 weeks. How many African countries have gone for a rapid credit facility?
How many African countries have been able to deal with COVID-19 the way we have?
How have you dealt with it?
You're not.
Why you think you are dealing with COVID-19 when you are getting figures from 2 weeks ago?
We're the number one as far as testing is concerned.
That argument is flawed.
Number one.
It is not true. It is not true. You know why? You know why? Because you have given the international community a fake figure of testings done. The reality is true that you have not tested 60,000 plus individuals. Some of those tests are triple tests on the same person.
But they came out to explain how they were doing that, and so
the other countries that you are comparing with are giving you unique individual. The people are giving you unique individual testings that they've done. And the question I'm asking you is, don't pride yourself. When people who were tested last week are still waiting for their test results, but they are sitting in trotros today. If some of those people turn out to be positive, you've allowed them to sit in trotro and infest people because your testing regime is 2 weeks behind schedule.
But on a macro level, when you look at Ghana, we've been able to issue a partial lockdown for 2 weeks. We fed people. We provided so many social services to ensure that Ghanaians will be safe. Don't you think it's commendable what we've been able to achieve?
Togo. Togo has done more by way of social intervention than Ghana. Togo has done more by way of social intervention than Ghana. They've given free light, 100%, not 50%. They've given free water. They fed. They are in a lockdown. So don't tell me that we should bring out the palanquin and bring out the brass band. That something has happened in Ghana that hasn't happened elsewhere. Go to Rwanda. Go and see what is happening in Rwanda. Go to Senegal and go and see what is happening there. We had Ebola in Africa. Wise leadership ensured that we were able to protect the shores and borders of this country. This whole problem of coronavirus in Ghana today, this government and President Akufo-Addo cannot escape blame. And you see, when Bishop Dakiwot Mills spoke and said that...
You take some hand sanitizer because you're also touching your face.
When Bishop Dakiwot Mills spoke and said, when they spoke wisdom to ignoramuses, they didn't listen.
Okay. What was the wisdom you spoke to?
Shut the airport, close the borders. All the index cases that came in through the airport. We asked them to shut the borders 2 weeks before they shut it.
Okay.
If they had listened to wisdom at that time, we would not be sitting where we are.
Okay.
Okay? So at the end of the day, they cannot sit here and seek to approbate or reprobate. Okay. Now let me make my last point. My very last point. Okay. My very last point I will make here is this. Today, Bobo seeks to say, oh, don't give the credits to President Mahama. It was President Mills. Right? Was President Mahama a garden boy at the Flagstaff House when President Mills was president? Was he not vice president and head of the economic management team? The same people will turn around and tell you, don't credit President Mahama with this facility. Don't credit him with this. Don't credit him with this. But when it suits their purposes, then they lump him and President Mills up together. That hypocrisy will not wash. It will not wash and we will not tolerate it. Bottom line is the position of Ghana's economy has been exposed. That our economy is in ICU. That our economy is on ventilators. And that our economy is being badly managed. That is the reality of the Ghanaian situation.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll allow you just 1 minute to respond and then we'll move on to our next topic.
You see, catchphrases don't necessarily translate to fact.
Okay.
In any event, how many countries in this world have been able to escape COVID-19? How many? And so all of them, in excess of 180 countries that have suffered the virus entering their country, their leaderships are ignoramuses. According to Sam George, quoting Archbishop, the respected Archbishop that he would knows.
That all 180 countries
all 180 leaders in the world.
For help. They all went, all 180 countries.
No, I'm talking of the virus coming into their countries.
But he's relating it to the IMF bit.
Yes. No. That was a different. I'm going to come there.
Okay.
Look, the rapid credit facility, even the criteria that was given, were countries that are managing the economy properly.
Okay.
But for the pandemic, there's been some challenges with revenue flow.
Yeah.
So it's not every country that qualifies.
Okay.
And Ghana, because of the proactivity of the finance ministry, we then read to see that, look, because of this pandemic that has impacted our revenues significantly, if we were unable to put in an application early for it to be considered early, okay, we will get to a point where our finances will not be able to meet our expenditure. So let's quickly go in there, pick this interest-free facility that gives us a buffer to meet the emergency. It's an emergency.
But doesn't
did they have any emergency
about our revenue, our potential to meet
every budget
targets?
Has a 1 year cycle.
Okay.
It's a financial year in which your revenues and expenditure are intended to be generated and expended in that year. So our expenditure remains fixed. Of course, government ought to be prudent and cut down on some of the expenditure.
Have we raised
hold on,
enough local
but the revenue is supposed to come from taxes. And then non-tax revenue.
Yes.
Your taxes are not coming in. Your ports are closed. So you're not generating the revenue. So you can't meet the expenditure. So the buffer that they talk about, what really does it mean? Governments build buffer to meet 3-4 months of import cover. Okay? Through reserves.
So
that
we had to go to the IMF because we closed our borders, and as a result,
absolutely, there was no revenue coming in. People are not paying taxes. Private sector is not working.
Not because
the economy has been shut
not
down.
because historically we don't have enough revenue anyway.
No.
Especially when we say we're going to change
but I've explained to you
from taxation to production.
That's how the financial year works.
Okay.
It's a budget of 2020, which has expenditure side and a revenue that is generated through daily taxes from Ghana revenue through our ports.
So from that view,
a lot of things have happened. Oil has dropped to sub 20. Indeed, a week or so ago, on the international crude oil market, oil was actually selling for negative because it needed to buy storage space. Ghana exports oil, so our revenue from our oil has been impacted. No,
but what does that say about how robust our economy is if we can't survive?
But the robustness, hold on. You see, the robustness of your economy is determined by how you manage your finances within the financial year.
Have we done well enough? Because if you have
that's what I'm saying, that let's say our track record over the past 3 years.
Yes, let me just break it down on a micro level. Can I use an example on a micro level? Let's say you're in your home, you're making your money, coronavirus hits. If you've saved enough money, you won't need to come to me to borrow money from me to take care of you and your family. Is that correct?
Yes, you're right.
So what are we doing right
you see,
now?
Okay, so if you
countries who have managed their economies well, they didn't need to run to IMF.
Hold on. If you save sufficiently enough,
yes,
but you are not earning any income, your savings will run out.
Yes,
you would have to borrow to fund your revenue, your expenditure.
But if you run out in such a short period of time, what does that say about your savings capability?
Look, Ghana hasn't got significant, we don't have savings, if you like. Our savings are in the heritage and the stabilization fund.
Yes.
Because we don't have enough revenue to meet our daily expenditure.
But when you came in your manifesto, you said you're going to target this revenue problem by changing the economy from taxation to production. So if we have succeeded with that, we will have enough revenue to solve this problem.
But the taxation from taxation to production is a process that we're rolling out through one district, one factory, and other initiatives.
Yes.
Now I'm saying that the entire international global value chain has shut down. If COVID-19 had not happened, and you are having this conversation with me because Ghana is unable to meet its obligations, then we'll be having a conversation. This is a clear outlier where every country across the world has been impacted.
Yes.
And I'm saying to you that, you see, look at it from the financial year perspective.
Okay.
Government of Ghana in itself, through the budget approval process, Parliament recognized that all our revenue was not going to be able to meet our expenditure. So we provided the government some room to borrow to meet the gap. Okay. Now, the entire revenue that has been projected is not coming. Or at least we are not going to see it within the flows that but for COVID-19 we would have seen.
Does that mean we don't have enough internally generated revenue? Because even if we cut off from the rest of the world, if we had enough internally generated revenue,
people are not working.
We won't be in this.
People are not working. Commerce is not going on.
Okay.
It's through commercial activity that government gets taxes. So if commerce is not going on, taxes is not going to come. Governments. The fallout is 3-week situation. Bear in mind that our airports are still closed. Our borders are still closed. Of course, there is some exception to bring in imports. Okay, but people, when they bring the imports, are not producing. How are they going to generate revenue to pay taxes?
Okay.
So I'm saying that. But for COVID-19, if you look at the track record of both governments, where at a point, because of the investment of President Kufuor in oil, our GDP grew to in excess of 14%. Okay, it was run down all the way to 3.6.
Okay,
our debt levels ballooned, recklessly borrowing above our means.
Okay,
our debt to GDP ratio and everything was in comatose. Okay?
It's going on and on.
Okay.
Look at what has been done over the 3 years.
I have to wrap you up.
And look at what it is that was projected for 2020. And tell me whether, if but for COVID-19, we'll be having this conversation.
Thank you very much. So I'll allow some George.
So it's not a government that couldn't save this country even in OPD that can have the competencies to save us in ICU.
And then we'll move on to what's going on at the ports, because we do have to discuss this Unipass
So introduce that, because I was both still right.
Okay, so go to Unipass. Okay, perfect. So I'm reading from page 13 of the Ghanaian Times, and it says clearing agents importers stranded at Tema Port at GCNet shuts down. So on page 13 of the Ghanaian Times, and I have received your messages. I'll try and read them before the show ends. It says here, clearing of goods and payments of duty at the Tema Port have been disrupted for 2 consecutive days due to the shutdown of GCNet system. Clearing agents and importers who visited the Ghana Customs Management System on Tuesday and Wednesday to process their declaration to enable them pay duty to clear goods could not do so due to the shutdown. They've already expressed frustrations with the new Unipass system, saying that it's not working. They don't understand why we'll shut down GCNet when Unipass is not ready. So I'll allow Honorable Sam George touch on the story. What's going on? I mean, importers have to now, they're saying they don't want to pay any additional fee for their things being stuck at the port because it's not their fault. What's the situation with this GCNet and Unipass?
Sheer incompetence of this government and the greed of a few people in government.
How so?
Okay. You have GCNet that was brought into the picture by President Rawlings in 1999 to automate our ports. They took off fully under President Kufuor in 2002 and started operating. And they've operated since 2002 till date, posting improved revenue for government year on year. Now, in 2015, the Mahama administration introduced a new player in the ports called West Blue. West Blue and GCNet have provided a synergy that has given end-to-end services to customers and ensured the revenue generation of government at the ports. GCNet is 35% owned by government of Ghana. Government of Ghana has 35% shares in GCNet. Now, you have individuals in government led by the senior minister, Honorable Yawasafumafu, wake up and say one day that GCNet does not have a valid contract because their contract was the midterm review of their contract was done in an election year because GCNet's contract runs till 2023. He claims that the midterm review that was done in 2016 was done in an election year, and so they deem it null and void. GCNet says, look, we have a valid contract. He says, we want you out and we want to bring in a wholly owned Ghanaian company. Who is this wholly owned Ghanaian company? They say it's GH Link in partnership with Unipass. What is the record of Unipass? Unipass has worked in Cameroon, they've worked in Tanzania, in all of these places they've been booted out for lack of revenue assurance for government. What is GH Link's track record? GH Link used to do scanning at our ports. Everybody knows that the debacle that was created. As we speak today, GH Link has been fined 45 billion Sierra Leonean loans for tax evasion in Sierra Leone. What was their job in Sierra Leone? Helping government raise revenue. To help government raise revenue in Sierra Leone, they went and evaded tax. And these are the people you are bringing to come and manage the port. And taking away those who have a proven track record of delivering on taxes. Now, you said that GCNet has a system that is not perfect, a system that doesn't work for you, and that Unipass is bringing in a better system. Yet in the Unipass contract, you have stated in the Unipass contract that except that the activation of the Unipass contract is contingent on GCNet handing over their systems and software to Unipass. If you say you are bringing a better car, you say that you don't like my Alacha, Volkswagen, or Opel Astra, and that you want to drive Bobo's E-Class E3 350 Mercedes-Benz, Then you are telling me that I should take out my Opel Astra engine and put it in your Mercedes-Benz for it to drive.
Well, you still have the benefit of experience with the target market, so there's nothing wrong with handing over to him.
Why should I hand over?
Because you have
Jifa.
real world experience with
Why should I hand over my intellectual property? Why should I hand over my intellectual property to someone who is a competitor?
Okay, thank you.
If you say, let me just wrap up. Yes, let me just wrap up in 1 minute. Look, one of the shocking things is that Mr. Yawasafo is willing and saying that government will pay GCNet $120 million to pay off the unexpired term of their contract just so that they can bring in GH Link and Unipass. GCNet gives government 35% of its revenue. GCNet charges Ghanaian importers and freight forwarders 0.48 as a percent of FOB as charge. You are bringing in Unipass, and that government of Ghana has 0%. So government of Ghana is throwing 35% away for 0%. The ordinary Ghanaian who conducts business at the port is now no longer going to pay 0.48, but going to pay 0.76, which is what Unipass charges. GCNet does not have tax waivers. For everything, even when GCNet brings in computers for the GRA, they pay duty. You have given Unipass, even before Unipass makes you a CD, you've given them free tax waiver.
But Unipass is Ghanaian owned.
Who says it's Ghanaian owned?
Okay. You said a couple of minutes
No, I'm saying Unipass is South Korean.
Okay.
And they are partnering with Nick Danso of GH Link.
Okay.
And I'm saying that government of Ghana has 0% in Unipass.
Okay.
But government of Ghana today has 35% in GCNet through 3 entities.
So
Ghana Shippers Authority, GCB Securities, and Ghana Shippers Authority.
And there's a private player, West Blue. You agree that we should have kept that? Okay.
Absolutely. And the evidence is in the eating, the sweetness is in the eating of the pudding. If you watch it, you see the harbors have shut down. Tema is not working. Takrada is not working.
Thank you very much. Honorable Massa.
It's pathetic when we sit on national platforms such as this and throw out words to the effect that incompetence and sheer greed of some people, and then proceed to say that GCNet was introduced by President Rawlings and was fully implemented by President Kufuor, and it was working perfectly. So, question then that one asks is, was the introduction of West Blue in 2015 into a system that was perfectly working because of sheer greed of some people?
Well, let's focus on the issue.
No, come there. He made comments, statements. Look, because I serve on the communications committee with him, we've had interactions with GCNet prior to this whole contract issue. So, yes, the shareholding and all that is well known. But if the objective is to provide a single window, as opposed to a system that is currently in place that is managed by 2 people, with a view to streamlining and making trade facilitation much more efficient. How do you introduce words like share greed?
But why isn't it? Why are we frustrating our freight forwarders right now?
It's look, I do not know the details. But my expectation was that but these are, if you ask me, in a seamless environment where work doesn't cease, but it's a continuum. When a new system is introduced, you would expect some challenges to be encountered. Okay? And so if those challenges are being encountered now, I'm not too surprised.
Well, one of the freight forwarders says no serious country would shut such an important system without giving prior notice to clients. So it seems like the whole, onboarding process.
If you look at the news reportage, the intention to introduce Unipass into our trade facilitation happened
overnight. But shouldn't we? What are we?
There have been several engagements. There have been several announcements. In fact, the implementation date has been moved.
Should government
on several occasions
eat up the cost that these freight forwarders have to bear with their things being stuck now for 2 days?
If you look a week or 2 ago, the transport minister issued a circular waiving demurrage and some port costs because of the lockdown, and extended all the way through to end of June, I believe. So government has provided some relief in that regard.
Okay.
So I'm saying that, look, at the end of the day, it is a system that will ensure that we as a people generate the requisite revenue from our importation. It's what we all need. And so if this Unipass system is a superior system, it's a much more efficient system. Of course, that's what I'm saying, that the implementation over the past 2 days when they started, we've seen some challenges. As to whether they can quickly fix it, I'm not aware. But I'm saying that let's not be quick to throw allegations around when we are called upon to provide proof. We may not be in a position to do so.
Thank you.
That's what we do to ourselves as politicians, that everybody calls us thieves. But you and I know, you are not a thief.
Well, neither are you. Thank you very much.
But we throw out all sorts of allegations. Then we come back purely because of December 7th. And then after you come and tell us that he's not interested in that. When I see you on the ballot paper on December 7th, you see what I'll do to you.
Hey, he's checking your live TV. When an MVP man checks your live TV, my safety is in the hands of
you. You are confused to all of us that you're not interested in the December election.
It's here, the Express Pay app. More social, more power, more services. Experience a cooler way of payments with exciting new features. Want to go social? Upload a cool image to add a personal feel to your account. Payments are even more seamless with an enhanced process. Mark some accounts as favorites so they are super easy to access. Even cooler, view payment due dates and check remaining balances for your favorite accounts. Want to repeat a payment? Do that right from the History tab. Have all your money in one place with a sleek look and feel. Bank Direct has had an awesome makeover. You can now send money instantly to 22 banks and counting. Express Pay, payments simplified.
There is nothing as hard as a diamond. For buildings with superior strength that withstand all weather conditions, Diamond Cement should be your preferred choice. Locate Diamond Cement nationwide with factories in Aflao, Takrady and Bupe. Diamond Cement, as hard as a diamond.
There is no promise we cannot keep. There is no commitment we cannot honor. There is no delivery we cannot guarantee. There is only one Bethel Logistics Company Limited, a licensed international freight forwarding and clearing agent, a trusted global brand with an extensive network for the movement of air freight and ocean freight worldwide. We are the trusted name for road freight into Western and Northern Africa. We are fully accredited by Ghana Customs and Excise. We cater for all your freight forwarding, customs clearing and forwarding, cross trades, inland transportation, internal cargo tracking systems, customer freight costing and consultancy, cold chain logistics management, logistics and warehousing, quality inspection, and much more. In Accra, Tema and Takrady, we are always available to ensure easy movement of cargo countrywide. Call us on 0204 528 900 or 0244 707 859. Email info@bethellogistics.com. Locate us in Accra at North Ridge, adjacent Accra Girls High School, or in Tema at Community 4, or in Takrady on the second floor of the GCB building. Website bethellogistics.com. Bethlog, experts in shipping logistics.
And welcome to Lockdown with Appy. Once again, we're here to cook something interesting with, of course, ingredients that you can find right at home while you're on lockdown. My name is inspirational, and today we're making something very interesting. It's called stir-fried gari. Now, it takes its inspiration from, I have lots of Brazilian friends, one in particular, shout outs to Mrs. Surama King. We used to, back in the day when I was back in the classroom, when we had some downtime, we would just share recipes. She, myself, and Dr. Bernard Akwe Jackson, who was an art teacher, and just really explore stuff. And there's one thing that I got to know from her. I already knew there was Brazilian gari, but I didn't know how it was made. And Brazilian gari, which is also called farofa, is essentially a stir-fried gari, and they do it really dry. Sometimes they store it in different bottles, and then later on you can have it with fried eggs, sausages, and whatnot. So I'm going to do a version of that today. I'm not really going to let it be as dry because I don't plan to store it for later. You can if you want to, since again you're on lockdown, you may want to do something that you can pick later, but we'll get into it once we get right back. And I have some chicken on the fire, so before we even come back, I'll just throw it on because chicken takes a bit of time to cook, and I need that in the final product. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Lockdown with Appy. My name is Apioko Seyiram Ashong Abe, and I'm making a stir-fried gari, which I said in the beginning of the show is essentially Brazilian inspired. There's Brazilian gari, which is known as farofa, and there's a recipe that I've sort of developed over time, just playing around with things that you can easily find in the kitchen. So I have put my chicken pieces on fire. Usually I'd like to use chicken breast, but I usually don't have chicken breast stocked up in my freezer, and because this is a show that teaches you to use what's around you, I had some chicken pieces, so I just took them, chopped them up, threw them in there. They are broilers, soft chicken, in case you're wondering. For those of you who don't know, yes, there's soft chicken and hard chicken. This is soft chicken. So it's in there. I put some ground black pepper in there, some white pepper, a tiny bit of nutmeg, just because it gives it an interesting exotic flavor. I'm trying to be exotic and Brazilian here, right? Some curry powder, not too much of it because we're not trying to color the chicken. Some dried red pepper, what we are all used to, what we like to put into our shito. We like spice, right? Okay, some salt I haven't added yet, so I'm just gonna do that for you to see. I'm going to do about 2 teaspoons because there's quite a bit of chicken there. And then some lemon. Just squeeze half a medium-sized lemon in there. I rubbed some on the chicken when I, started prepping it to go on fire. And again, for those of you who don't know, lemon, anything citrus, sort of takes away the smell, the raw smell of meat, and that includes chicken. So that's why I did that. I haven't tossed my diced onions in yet, which are very important for steaming chicken. So I'm just going to dice them up. For those of you who are wondering what I'm doing with the chicken, I want to play around with it just to give some protein to the stir-fry gari when I'm done. And so I need to prep the meat. I'll also be working with some sausages, and you'll see how I'll prep that shortly. It doesn't need to be too fancy, the onions I'm cutting, because I'm just using them to steam. And again, for people who don't know how to steam chicken or any kind of meat, it's very basic. You prep your meat, cut it up into sizable pieces, and then after that, you just toss it into a pan that's big enough, and then you fill it with water. So if your meat is up to here, then you want your water to be just above it, okay? So maybe 2 parts of water to 1 part of meat in terms of the levels that you see in the pan, not too much water. and then you throw your spices in there. And mummies at home, daddies who are also parenting while you're on lockdown, in case you're wondering, yes, this is something that you can easily leave to go and check on the babies. It's very doable. You just put your meat on. In terms of how long it should be on fire, that's up to you. I typically like my meat to be very, very tender for two main reasons. One, I like my meat to melt in my mouth, and two, I just wasn't blessed with the best of teeth. Okay, I wasn't blessed with the best of teeth. So I don't like to chew too much, otherwise it puts too much strain on my teeth. So if there's anyone at home who has that same experience that I do, or that same issue, then yes, steam your meat. I'll say maybe 20 minutes. Yeah. That gets it nice and soft. It also allows for all the juices to get into the meat, into the chicken in this case. And that's very important because a lot of the time when you gain access to meat, especially when you go out to certain places, the spice doesn't really get in, especially people who are mass producing food. It's not every time that you get a chance to marinate your meat and put it in the fridge overnight, which allows all the juices to soak in. But if you know how to steam, then you get, essentially a great tasting chicken or protein dish. Okay, that's looking great. Smells lovely. Love it. Okay, so while our chicken is on high heat, we're steaming, so that means you want the water to boil. And again, if you don't have a steamer, pressure cooker, just a simple saucepan with a cover is doable. And then your water is in there and you're still getting all the steam to cook your meat. Brilliant. And the good thing about doing it this way too is that at the end, as you see, you have a chicken broth which you can store for later and use for stews and whatnot. So I'm going to get right into the gari. So here I have a frying pan, non-stick, very important for what we're about to do and for any stir fry. Heat on, high as usual. Again, I cannot reiterate this enough. Once you're working with something that's pan top, high heat usually works because you're doing a quick fix. It's not like the oven where you can slow cook or you're making a stew and you need the heat to be low so that what's at the bottom of the pan doesn't burn. Today, I'm using coconut oil. Coconut oil is a favorite of mine. I like essential oils. I use coconut for my hair, use it for my body. When I'm shaving my legs, I shave my legs. I know a lot of people don't do that. Maybe too much information, but I do. And I like to coat my legs with coconut oil. And then, of course, I use it to cook as well. So coconut oil is a staple in my home. If it's not the same for you, no worries. I also have substitute sunflower oil here. That's an option as well. If plain old vegetable oil works for you too, no worries, no shame there. Please feel free. So I'm just going to set that over here. Okay. Usually if you want to know if your pan is hot enough, just hold your hand just above it and you see that. There you go. I feel the heat, and then you can also see that the oil is beginning to bubble. That's how you know it's hot enough. So what I'm going to do is quickly dice up some onions, very quickly, very roughly. Again, if you want to turn cooking into your side gig after this lockdown, that's great. But I'm just teaching you how to survive, baby. Survive in your kitchen, survive in your home. Your kids are eating every second. Why are they so hungry all the time? I don't get it. Is it the boredom? But anyway. And then these are, again, just simple things that you can do with stuff that's in your pantry, readily in your kitchen, whether you've shopped in bulk for the lockdown or not. I know some people are not able to do that, partly because maybe you don't have the money to buy in bulk, maybe you don't have the space. If you're a bachelor, for example, or a single lady, you have a single room, you don't have a huge fridge or freezer to be storing things in. These are simple things you can do on a daily basis that don't take too much time, too much energy, but you can have a great tasting meal, and you too can live the life song, even though you're on lockdown. Okay. So my onions are nicely chopped up. You can have them smaller if you like, bigger as well. And I'm just going to toss them right into the hot oil. There we go. Okay. And I love the smell of coconut oil. It's another reason why I love cooking with it. A lot of people find it too overpowering, maybe because it's unfamiliar. It's not necessarily something that we grew up using in a lot of our homes. But if you like komikekina, You like the roadside kilewille, yeah, the way it's done. You like the stews that you eat when you buy food from our streets, especially the streets of Accra, streets of Kumasi. A lot of those things are done using coconut oil, shea butter. Talk about shea butter, jollof, all those interesting things. And these are local oils, and they do tend to be, depending on where you're shopping, if you go into our markets, they tend to be less expensive than your typical vegetable oil. But it's fine. Like I said, if coconut oil is not for you, no worries. Do you? Okay, so we got the garlic in there, also nicely chopped up. I'm sure you've realized by now that I don't really like using the blender. There's no reason. I just think that blenders are not readily accessible to everyone, and so if I'm going to be teaching people how to do things while they're at home and they can't get out, then maybe you don't even have enough electricity. Some people, you put your blender on, the electricity is going off. I don't want to be the cause of bad news. So just things that you can easily chop up, that's what I'm trying to help you with. Now again, we have our cayenne pepper, ground red pepper, the spicy kind. Just toss some in there. Okay, a little bit of salt, just about half a teaspoon. And something else I'd like to reiterate, is that I am intentionally not using a lot of the standard equipment that you'll find in a kitchen. Okay, so for example, I'm using a wooden spoon here, flat spoon. A lot of people have this in their homes. If I go and bring out all my culinary stuff, you may be like, oh, Charlie, I don't have this, so it means I can't do this. I don't want you to feel that way. What I'm doing here on Lockdown with Appy is for everyone, and feel free. Again, black pepper. And for anyone who is wondering that, this chick, anytime she comes on TV, it looks like she's using the same black pepper, the same curry. It's because, again, I want you to know that you don't need to step out every time you want to cook. You can use things that are readily available. There's some white pepper there, generous helping. You can use things that are readily available. So if you have only 3 spices on your shelf, feel free to play around with them. Once again, just for cohesion of taste. When you're cooking, what a lot of people don't realize is that one of the things that makes dishes come together. So I have chicken I'm going to be using later. I have this stir-fry gari that I'm prepping for. If you use the same spices in your chicken as the same spices for your gari, or even throw some on your rice. If you're cooking rice, for example, and you're doing curry, put a tiny bit on the rice, put some black pepper on the rice. It binds the taste together, so it's an explosion in your mouth, and the taste is uniform. And that's something that you can probably pick up. Okay, so at this point, again, just for cohesion and continuity, I'm just with a tiny bit of lemon juice. Okay, and now we're all set for our gari. So gari in there, just going to take a teaspoon. Just going to pour quite a bit in there, and it's to your specifications. So the reason I'm doing this is because I also want the egg yolk to feature. Okay, I just want, so look at that white, it's there. Once you beat your eggs, you lose the separation between the white and the yellow. So if you watched my episode, for example, on French toast, you saw that when I beat the egg together, everything became nice and creamy. I didn't want that feel for this. You'd also beat your egg if you're going to do an omelette. I didn't want that. More like a scrambled egg without beating it first is what I wanted. And my veggies are pre-washed, so I didn't just pick them from the market and start cutting them, in case you're wondering. Pre-washed and prepped. And a great tip, not just because we're in coronavirus season or COVID-19 season, but also because it's just great. There are other bacteria, viruses that can easily make us sick, make your kids and make your family sick. They lurk in our food, especially when you're doing vegetables and fruits. When you're prepping your vegetables, an easy thing to do is to let your water be very salty. If you have vinegar at home, that also kills a lot of germs in food. Obviously, we can't use Dettol and disinfectants to be washing our food. Now, I'm just going to have mineral water. Just pour a bit on it. Just because I want the cabbage to catch up with the sausages and the eggs. Okay. Oh, that smells divine. Okay, and then I'm going to put some green peppers in there. The reason I put the cabbages first is because cabbages, of all the vegetables I have here, take the longest to cook. Okay, now I'm not trying to cook them through and through. What I want to do is really just to get them to be crisp. I don't want us to lose the nutrients. So green peppers, I'm going to dice them. And again, this is not like a stir fry that's supposed to have vegetables being the star. So you don't need too many. 1 carrot is fine, 1 tomato is fine, 1 small or medium-sized green pepper is okay. 1/4 of a medium-sized cabbage works great. Okay, almost through. Now I'm going to raise the heat so that remember I poured some water in there, so now all the moisture just gets out. Okay. Okay. So I have my gari on one side, as you can see, trying to keep this side clean. And I'm sure you've realized by now that plating and I are best friends. I like to play around with my plate, make it look very interesting and colorful. And now my veggies and sausage, whatever this is supposed to be, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. There are some eggs in there too. Look at that, full of color. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so we've got that there as well. And then, finally, my chicken is going to go at this side. So I'm just going to transfer the chicken onto the chopping board. Some of it anyway. And then using your hands, you just, break it away. Smaller pieces. The pieces that are small already you can just toss in here. It's fine. Arrange them nicely. Get some of your nice onions. It's still hot, so if you're not good at handling hot stuff, you might want to let it cool a little further. Remember, I've been doing this live, so I'm not necessarily at liberty to let my chicken cool, and everything is timed. Okay. So it looks like my pieces were small enough, so I don't need to do too much breaking. And again, I said usually I'd like to use chicken breasts just because, especially if you have children at home, they don't have to play with the bones, all that, risk swallowing anything. But since I had chicken pieces readily available in my freezer, that's what I brought. And now the broth. So I'm just going to pull a little more broth in here. Okay. And then spoon just a little bit over my gari to give it some moisture, over my sausages, eggs and veggies, and then over my chicken. And we're done. Of course, my plate has to look nice and neat. I'm just going to wipe around it. There we go. And we're all done. So you have your stir-fried gari, Brazilian inspired, with my sausages, some eggs in there and veggies, well sauteed and tossed, and then my steamed chicken. And of course, if you didn't even want to do the gari, you could have your veggies and your sausages and eggs with maybe some boiled yam later on, some rice maybe. It's very versatile. Or you can have the chicken, make it into a stew, eat the gari with shito. So even the 3 things on this plate can be done and eaten with different things at home, especially while you're on lockdown, Charlie. Be versatile. So once again, this has been Locked Down with Appy. My name is Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe. And of course, if there's anything you want us to try, you have a recipe, you have some ingredients that you don't know what to do with, just go ahead. Tweet at us, Facebook us, whatever it is, hashtag Breakfast Daily. You can also reach out to me across all social media platforms at Apiokor, APIORKOR. See you next time. Bye-bye.
All right, so that was Locked Down with Appy, looking at how to make stir-fried gari. Wow. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
When we think of gari foods, Well, first of all, let me be honest. I have never thought of stir-fried Gary.
Me neither.
You know, you think of eba. You know, you think of soakings.
I'm not adventurous when it comes to Gary. I just stick to the.
But this is very interesting.
Soakings.
Yeah, this is very interesting. This is very interesting. Stir-fried Gary. I like to be adventurous, but I think sometimes, you know, depending on your exposure, what it is you know, and all that, there are limits to what you think of and what you come up with.
Yeah.
You know, but this is very exciting, and I believe that you enjoyed that, and so you're going to try that at home yourself as well. You should. And let us know how it turns out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I did tell you guys that I was going to read some of the messages during the news review. I didn't get a chance to. So I'll read some briefly. David will read some as well. And then we'll take a look at our entertainment highlights. So I'm reading from our Facebook page. Thank you guys so much for watching, by the way. I said a lot of you are still on Facebook. Chrissy Kwesi says, MPP and NDC. Okay, MPP and propaganda. Sweet talks and lies and kwan. Ratty Dell says, Lion Sam George, Togo is never under lockdown, please. And then someone came in to clarify that as well. Max says, Honorable Sam George is on point. If you're proud of $1 million Gabe win with same register, why can't you use it for the upcoming election? Okay. And more messages here. Prissy says, please tell Honorable Mesa differentiate with respect to ICU and OPD. So he's talking about how if NDC couldn't handle an OPD economy, how can they handle an ICU economy? I think that's a great question there. Francis says, why won't Sam George buy a big poly tank for his constituency members and connect Ghana water for his people to fetch all the time?
Yeah, Ish White says, Mr. Man, speaking tribalism is what we don't want. You couldn't make your submission without being tribalistic. If your MPP do that, take we Fanti out. We embrace all tribes. Shame on you. I think it was making that in reference to the fact that he says I'm Fanti. Yeah. So, okay. The Emmanuel Obeng Duidu says, in this COVID-19 period, you are still creating congestion and chaos at the ports with all these Unipass things. Can't it be put on hold for now for speedy clearing of goods? This is not a good time for this. Yeah. Asem Kantinka says, Sam, you're just awesome with facts and figures. MPP are liars. Only their brainwashed followers believe them.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
So if you see lots of your messages, keep them coming throughout the show, and we'll do well to read them out loud. Don't forget that tomorrow we'll be celebrating our health workers in a massive way with our Rally Round the Flag virtual concert. So if you have any health worker who has touched your life, this is a time to brag about them. Let us hear the story with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. If you want to send it to us directly, our WhatsApp line is 0550-585-832. We'll take a look at our entertainment highlights and then continue the show.
Welcome to Entertainment Highlights. My name is Atokwamene Suman. After severing his music business relationship with Stonebwoy's Benetton Music some months ago, Calvin Boy says he's not planning on getting signed onto a record label in Ghana again. According to him, he's not impressed with how record labels in Ghana operate. The place that we signed, it didn't go well, so I don't really believe in signing for a record label in Ghana anymore, he told Sammy Flex on his online TV program Showbiz Daily. He believes that labels in Ghana reveal in taking glory for what they do for the artists than investing in their talents. The international record labels do the work so the artist reaps the benefits, but in Ghana, they want the fans more than the real work, he stated. Even though he claims he's not officially signed onto the Black CD Black Arm Entertainment's record label, he said he does a lot of things for him, including booking of shows and footing his projects, something he has been doing since they were both under Benetton Music. Meanwhile, he says if Black CD wants to sign him, he wouldn't hesitate to do so, stressing that if he had signed onto the Black CD record label when he left Stonebwoys, people would have concluded the move was the reason for the cessation of his contract with Benetton Music.
Stepping so raw, waiting with my nose before. Social media too fake, so me stepping so raw. Always on a top floor. Like a lion on a raw, me want some more. Music, give me some more. DJ take it from top, the place never dull. Anytime when me they around, ELM say them one more. She say I be cool, yeah one. I time for any war, my yeah. Fair Charlie I be cool, yeah one. I time for any war, my yeah. She say I be too cool, yeah one. I time for any war, my yeah. Fair Charlie I be cool, yeah one. I time for any war, my yeah. My yeah fair, my yeah fair, my yeah.
Ghanaian musician Fantana has expressed her opinion on recent beefs going on between females in the music industry. Just last week, Sister Ifya released a diss song titled WMT, which social media claimed was directed at Sister Debbie, Wendy Shea, and some other female artists in the industry. Although she came on Instagram live video to explain that the song wasn't directed at anyone and the title was chosen for mere controversial reasons, other female artists came out to respond through social media jabs and diss songs accordingly. Fantana, who seemed unconcerned, has finally spoken her mind on the happenings. In an Insta story post, she condemned their actions and added that although she joined the music industry not too long, she's already fed up. All these females in Ghana industry do is to create fake beef with each other. You're starting to look as bad as the wigs and outfits y'all been wearing every day. This yourself. I just got here and I'm already tired of y'all. Every day queen this and queen that. Talent this, no talent that. Meanwhile, only 2 female musicians can brag about being international. The rest of us are local champions. Be there and be beefing instead of building better brands to be taken serious outside Ghana. Jokers, she posted. The beef between comic actors Funny Face and Lil Wayne has taken a different turn as the former has just released a series of attacks on Lil Wayne, Calibus, and Bismarck the Joke. In a series of videos cited on Funny Face's Instagram page, he accused Lil Wayne, Calibus, and Bismarck the Joke for trying to sabotage him. In the meantime, Adebayo is planning to move Funny Face to join him in Togo.
And that's all for entertainment highlights for Breakfast Daily.
All right, so that's the entertainment highlights for you there. Yesterday the Deputy Minister of Education was on Point of View with Bernard Avile, and he did made mention of some things I think are very important. When the government is rolling out certain policies and directives and so on, it's important for us to understand that they have our best interest at heart, and it does no good to anybody for them to take decisions that is going to be counterproductive to the government in general, and their efforts. So he made comments about people not stampeding the government's efforts in terms of trying to say open the schools quickly or do this and so on and so forth. Let's take a listen to what he said, and then we'll continue the conversation.
Everything that we are saying here, it's not because somebody doesn't want to do something. But you are running this country and you are fighting this fight based on facts and science. If the environment is not safe for students to be in school, you cannot be in school. It's not like during the military regime, in our times when universities were closed for political reasons. That is when you can appeal to the government and say, can you open the universities for us? It was a political decision. The safety of the students were not at stake. The life of the students were not at stake. It was a political decision made. Now you come to COVID-19, and it's a science, it's a health, it's a safety decision being made by the president. So he has more facts than all of us combined in terms of what is going on. And I'll defer to him. And I'll say, Mr. President, when the country is safe and when you feel that our children are going to be safe in our schools, you tell us to go back to school and we'll gradually do. So we shouldn't be seen as saying, can we go, as if we are making independent decisions aside of COVID-19.
So you are saying it's a safety issue, health issue?
Health issue, everything combined. And the life of the students, come on, nothing compares to the life of a child. Why would you, by any means, or imagine like a friend who runs a private school, I think in Senya Breku, was on air talking about, why can't we go to school tomorrow? We can do social distance. And I said, are you sure? You're going to tell that kid in primary one to do social distancing during break? He's going to put his arms around his friend and say, Kojo, come and let us walk together. How do you do social distancing? So I don't want us to stampede those who are leading the fight, but rather pray for them and ask them, when the environment is safe, based on the science, based on the data, based on the facts, please tell us to go to school, and we'll gradually do. Because the safety of the children and the teachers who are going to be at the front lines.
So there you have it. This is the Deputy Education Minister, Honorable Educhum, saying the safety and the livelihood of the child is more important than the education. What good is your education if you're dead, right? And we can't talk about education without looking at the broader issue of COVID-19. Children still, even as adults, sometimes we forget. We see our friends, we want to hug them. Children want to have fun. Human beings are made to bond, to engage and connect with one another. When you see someone you love, you want to play with them. So until we are done with this COVID-19 wahala that we have on our hands, it is very difficult to tell kids, go to school, respect social distancing, don't touch your friend, go and wash your hands every time you play. It will just be very difficult. I think we should empathize with our leaders and begin to get our kids to adapt to this new normal of studying on the internet. Maybe if they have siblings, this is the time for them to practice group work. This is an opportunity for us to make education a bit more fun. Some people have gone through homeschooling their whole lives and they are fine. So it's a different reality, but I think we will be just fine if we all do the bit that we can to make things work.
Yeah. You say, don't hug your friend, don't touch your friend. It's so weird and so foreign, and children, because of how they function, it will be pretty precarious, opening the schools at this time. I think it's just the best decision, to delay it as long as, the information that is coming in shows that we are not there yet. It's not yet time. So yeah, anyway, but we are also doing something very important. I think it's one of the most important things that we're doing. That's tomorrow. We are celebrating our frontline health workers. Okay, all the frontline health workers. It doesn't matter which institution. It doesn't matter which rank, which particular specialty. All frontline workers. We're celebrating all of you. And I think it's absolutely important. Of course, some people have been raising questions as to if you're doing a concert, how safe are we going to practice social distancing and all of those things. These are questions, and they're legitimate questions. So we want to give you a sense of, what it is that we're going to do in terms of the safety protocol, so that you can rest assured. You're going to rest assured that we are taking into consideration all these things. For example, microphones that will be used in between different segments. Microphones will, for example, be disinfected, and cleaned. These are just to give you a sense of what we're going to be doing, making sure that the studio is a clean and safe place before the concert actually begins, and so on, disinfecting all surfaces and all of that. These are just some of the things that we'll be doing, to make sure that the concert actually happens in as a sanitized environment as possible, so that the acts who are going to spend the entire day, 6 hours here, they are not going to go back, regretting that they came because they picked up something they shouldn't have picked up, So we're going to do our part and make sure that we take care of them as they perform.
And definitely some of these, we'll have some of our artists, we're showing you right there on your screens, We have Mr. Drew. I mean, Mr. Drew is going to be here. A lot of us love Mr. Drew. Nana Asase will give us some great poetry that you will not want to miss. Apioko Seram Ashang Abe will be here to share some of the matriarch with us. Creamy will also be here. It's Creamy, Mr. Drew, and Sarkodie. And of course, there's our family as well. Family will be joining us. The rap doctor himself will be there. Our Chiame Kwame will be joining us. Amanziba will be here as well. Sina Soul, Joe Metal, Tego Sisters will be with us. So we're going to have a blast. And throughout the show, if you guys want to celebrate a health worker in a massive way, just let us know with the hashtag Rally Round the Flag. It's really important that we celebrate our health workers in this way.
Yeah. It's important. I mean, what we're doing, we're saying to all health workers who have put families, their families that they put at risk every single day, health workers who can't see their parents because they fear to put them at risk, health workers who don't have families, they live alone, they don't have somebody to encourage them, and health workers who have lost their lives in the fight, both home and abroad. This is our tribute to them. It's a very important tribute. Let me just say that again. All health workers who have families that they put at risk every day. Health workers who can't see their parents because they're afraid to put them at risk. Health workers who don't have families, they live alone and they don't even have anyone to encourage them. And health workers who have lost their lives in the fight against COVID-19, both home and abroad.
Yes, and we unfortunately have some more news for you as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Our numbers have officially gone up by 200. Well, we have 212 recoveries, but we are now at 2,074 cases. So we have 2,074 people confirmed positive for COVID-19 with 212 recoveries. And this time, more than ever, is the time for us to be safe. Put on your face mask. We can't stress this enough. Okay, when you're stepping out of your homes, put it on. Just because we are not dying the way other countries are dying does not mean that COVID-19 is not a reality in this country. Just because we've lifted the 3-week partial lockdown does not mean we're still not dealing with COVID-19. So as you have there, the number is now 2,074. In the Greater Accra region alone, we have 1,795 people recording positive for COVID-19. Great news is that we have 212 recoveries. Unfortunately, 17 people have passed on. So COVID-19 is a reality that we're dealing with, and now more than ever, we need to celebrate our soldiers. We need to acknowledge them. We need to let them know that we appreciate the sacrifices that they are making to keep us all safe. So as you see here in the breakdown, Greater Accra region, I already mentioned 1,795 people have been tested positive. In the Ashanti region, we have 99 people. The Eastern region, we have 70 people. Central region, 21 people. Oti region, 19. Upper East region, 19 people. Volta region, 16. Northern region, 13. Upper West region, 10. Western region, 9. Northeast region, 2. Western North region, 1. Good news though, Savannah region, we still have 0. Bono region, 0. Ahafo region, 0. And Bono East, 0. So only 4 out of the 16 regions have not yet recorded any case of COVID-19. Greater Accra is still a hot spot So we have to be careful, because we know the majority of people who have tested positive showed little to no symptoms at all. And while that is great news as far as recoveries might be concerned, it's not so great as far as, transferring it on to someone else. Because if I don't think I'm sick, I may want to hug my family members or my friends when I see them. I may want to go party. I may want to act like life is normal. And I may unconsciously pass it on to someone who may not be able to survive it. And we know that our infrastructure is not strong enough to handle it. Our doctor-to-patient ratio is nothing to write home about. We can't overburden our health workers. So the best thing we can all do for them right now is to ensure that we don't catch the virus, so that we don't become a burden to them.
Yeah, so it's important for us to also understand and put it in perspective. The 17 deaths now reduces our death rate. Okay, so the number of cases vis-a-vis the number of deaths, we were roughly about 1%. Now it's gone to 0.8%. So it means to the number of cases. Now our recovery rate is now 10%, just above 10%. So and you put that against the death rate, it's quite a good sign that we have. The number of people recovering versus the number of people who are dying. These rates, mind you, are quite different when you compare them to other countries. Some countries are doing a death rate of about 3%, 4%. We are doing 0.8%, which means that we find ourselves in a very fortunate place, and we should thank our stars for that. I think it's a very important thing to make sure that we do what we are doing. The government has put systems in place, protocols and directives in place. We need to pay attention and pay heed to these things, because it's a fight that they are leading, but we need to cooperate. We need to put our minds to the fact that if we misbehave, if we act out of turn, if we don't do what it is that we've been asked to do in terms of wearing masks, in terms of social distancing, in terms of hand washing, in terms of sanitizing when you can't hand wash, if we don't do these things, these numbers, as good as they look, are going to start going bad, and we can't afford to go bad. We can't afford for it to go bad. Okay, so it's very important for us to bear in mind that the protocols that we put in place are what are helping us to maintain the numbers as good as they look. Okay, in terms of the global scale, our numbers are actually very good. So it's important for us to maintain the protocols, keep social distancing, whether it's in school or wherever it is. As you can see on your screens there,
wash your hands frequently with soap under running water. Okay, it's really important. Use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Rub it thoroughly, ensure that you get all parts of your hands. Keep a distance of at least 2 meters from a person showing. Now, right now, we are not waiting for signs anymore, because we know that majority of us are asymptomatic. So keep a distance, point blank period. Just keep a distance from everybody, because they may be positive and they are not showing any symptoms. Do not touch your eyes, mouth, or nose with unwashed hands. This is really important. So please do not touch it. When in doubt, don't touch your face at all, and wash your hands as much as you can. Thoroughly cook meat and eggs, okay? We have to cook our meals thoroughly, especially now, and eat more vegetables, eat more fruits. We need to ensure that our immune system is strong, in addition to being physically active and drinking lots and lots of water and getting enough sleep.
Yeah. So the important thing with getting enough sleep and taking in a lot of fluids is that your immune system is what we're targeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Your immune system needs lots of water. Your immune system needs you to be having been rested. Okay. So that's critical. All right. So the websites are there: citynewsroom.com/coronavirus, GhanaHealthService.org/COVID-19. to get your updates, regular updates. Okay, so it's important, as we've said, these protocols that we've put in place are very, very, very important. Now, we said at the beginning of the month of April that it was the face mask month, the nose mask month. Now, as we said, that we've carried it right through the month, but it's important to remember that the fight, we're in the thick of it. We're right in the midst of it. We can't let down now, okay? So we're going to step it up, and we're going to go into May and continue masking our faces, covering our faces, keeping the barrier between you and other people, all right? Because speaking and just coughing, sneezing, all those things can spread it, all right? Now we have the report that we showed you earlier on. Want to take a look at that again? What are people's reaction towards wearing nose masks? Let's take a look at that from Michael Obodu.
So behind me there is an AMA official asking everybody who is in the trotro without a nose mask to alight, including the driver. And that's the situation here at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, right under the bridge. Anybody who's commuting into town without a nose mask is meant to return or acquire one on the spot. We'll talk to some passengers, possibly some of the nose mask sellers and the officials, and bring you up to speed with the issue here. So tell me, what do you make of the operation today?
Oh, very interesting, very good, because without these preventions, some people are going to get more infected. It's simple as that.
Now, why weren't you wearing yours?
No, I have one. It's here when I was coming on the way.
And now you've been forced to buy one, not to?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I went to the fitting shop and my phone was giving me problem, and I just passed by to repair it, so I just forgot it at home. Okay, it's good idea. It's good idea, but unfortunately, I apologize. So next time, I'll not do that mistake. Oh, I can buy it, but I don't have money on me now. I need it. It will protect me yet, but I don't have money on me now.
We're here with one of the sellers of the nose mask. We're going to ask her how business has been so far. Madam Pacho, you started operation. Is your business the same?
You see, my friends say business here. Me talk cosmetics. But marketing in quantity. When you buy no, obi chum na say o shebia. Ni advice no atobi. Inti aye ne bo aso nya di 22 cedi.
See what Tom say.
Oh, media me shasi ani nche. See aye na me shasi ba kakra kita me no. Eguso aye to.
So we have Ibrahim Tete here. He's the one in charge of this operation by the AMA. So Ibrahim, tell me, how's the operation going so far?
Yeah, very, 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 very nice. And as you also here witness what is going on, I think it's good for all of us. The exercise we are doing now, from the mayor and the regional minister, the mayor asked me to make sure each and everyone in circle here to be with the masks. If not that, we should check all the vehicles, especially the trotro. Those who doesn't have it, we have to drop them down for them to go and have it before joining them, or we have to let them go back.
So tell me, how long is this operation going to last?
We are here until the president will say, now it is okay, so everyone should remove the mask, then we'll stop coming here. But so far the president said, and the regional minister and the mayor will make sure that every blessed day we'll be here and check each and everyone in circle. And even not only the vehicles, those who are selling, the traders, also will be part of it. And we'll make sure those who doesn't wear the mask on the pavement, we will sack each and everyone on the pavement, not only the vehicles.
So you heard it there from Mr. Tete. If you don't want to experience the inconvenience of being asked to alight from the car you are in and buy a nose mask on the spot, please come to town wearing your nose mask. Reporting for City News, my name is Michael Obodu.
So there you have it, our colleague Michael Obodu, and we can't stress this face mask thing enough, okay, guys? Because in as much as we are happy that we are recording recoveries, we also know that the people who are critically ill, the percentage of them who end up dying is very high.
Yeah.
So that means you could sit in a trotro, you are fine, you're not showing any symptoms. The person next to you is also not showing any symptoms. You sneeze and the person will breathe that in. They are going home to take care of their 80-year-old grandmother. Now this grandmother will potentially be exposed to COVID-19. Her immune system may not be strong enough to fight the virus. So we have to ensure that we are not passing it on, because we don't know why the critically ill people or people who already have a pre-existing health conditions are not surviving in the way we would want them to survive. When you look at the number 17, you think it's a small number. But when you compare that to the number of people who were critically ill, you understand that it's not a small number. So we all have some old person in our family that we're taking care of. We all have someone in our family member or in our family who may have a health condition that they're battling with. And we are in Ghana where even knowing your health status is a privilege. Some of us may have health issues and they are not aware of. You go expose them to the virus and you unconsciously contribute to putting them in a very bad state. Day in, day out, we're talking about the financial state of this country. We can't handle the burden of caring for too many sick people. It's easier to care for people who are complete, who are not sick, and the only thing they have to worry about is food. That's easier. That we can do. We can't afford to put all of us on ventilators, so we are pleading with every single person. Find a face mask. If you know someone who can't afford a face mask, use this as an opportunity to buy them a face mask. If you have to give anyone a gift, let it be a face mask. Let's all contribute to ensuring that we contain COVID-19 in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday, I saw a post on Facebook by Dr. Annie Owusu, and this is what she says. She said, "How I had goosebumps today. So my sister went to an ECG office to buy power. A no face mask, no entry policy was being practiced, and rightly so. Now, there were a lot of people outside who have been refused entry because they did not have face masks on. Now, after a while, some of these people outside decided to outsmart ECG. They began to collect the masks of people who had already been in and put them on to go get their service. Yes, you read right. We are sharing face masks. Oh, the horror. At this rate, what will be the R0 number for Ghana? Education, education. How do we get people to get it, to understand this thing? It's so serious. Anybody who's out there asking for someone else's mask clearly hasn't understood what we've been going on for the last months. You haven't understood anything that we've been talking about for all these weeks. You're not just a danger to yourself, you're a danger to your entire family. Because if you pick it up, you're going home to go and share it. Let's contain this. If I don't know what you make of it, but...
No, I think we have failed, right? And I think I won't even blame the customers, I'll blame the institutions themselves. Any institutions that's requiring people to put on face masks should make available face masks for the person to buy. Because if I travel so many hours or minutes to come to your establishment and you tell me I can't enter, as a human being, I'm just going to, out of desperation, get whatever I have to get to do it. So I think I mentioned earlier that Orca is doing this really well. They tell you no face mask, but if you don't have face mask, we have some here you can buy, right? I think we should all get into the habit of making face masks available to the people who don't have it, so that we don't demonize them. They are not committing a crime by not having face masks. Maybe they genuinely don't have access. So let's ensure that we give them access so that they can readily buy them and put them on. Thank you guys so much for joining us for Breakfast Daily. It's been an absolute honor having you join us. My name is Jifa Eke Amatam.
And I'm David Kwekusechi.
Don't forget that at 3 p.m. we have the COVID-19 report, where we'll break down everything for you to understand not only the status of as far as Ghana is concerned, but across the continent and the world.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you same time tomorrow,
Yes.
7:30 a.m. Don't miss it. Take care.
Hello, my name is Mata Adwanan, Innovations Manager of Jekral Ventures Limited, producers of Fortifa. Fortifa, certified by MUFA, is an organic compost manufactured right here in Ghana, using source-irrigated organic waste. This waste is taken through scientific processes to add value and ensure safety. Fortifa compost is purely organic and capable of recuperating depleted farmlands. It increases yield, and all harvested crops are organic, have long shelf life, and good for human consumption. Fortifa is designed beautifully with directions of use embossed on it. Fortifa is available, Fortifa is affordable, Fortifa can be used on all kinds of crops.
For bulk purchase, contact Jekora on 0289 673514 or 0205 462010.
This is VOA Africa.